Hey guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today is our day 14 and today we are going to see lists. So this is the chart from my previous primitive data types video. Here we have two columns. We already have seen these primitive data types and today we will see lists, which is a part of non-primitive data types. We will also see these dictionaries, sets and tuples in our future videos. Okay, so let's get continue with lists. In our previous videos we saw primitive data types. Now today we will discuss about lists, which are a part of non-primitive data types. Lists are mutable and they can be modified, changed, and lists are a group of data like strings, integers, floats and booleans. Here I have mentioned the syntax of lists. So the first line is list of numbers and the second line is list of strings. Here these strings are listed and hence it is called as list. So let's get started and let's discuss about lists. Hey guys, so I'm back with my computer and today we are going to learn about lists, accessing list items, adding, removing them, and all the methods you need to master lists. Okay, so lists are basically non-primitive data types. Okay, so now let us open Visual Studio Code. Okay, so here we have this code from my previous video. If you haven't watched it yet, then you can find the link in the I button now. And if you haven't watched my Python programming playlist, if you haven't accessed it yet, then you can find the link in the description below. Okay, so now let us start with our lists. Okay, so as we saw that there are data types like strings, integers, boolean. We have lists, dictionaries, and sets and tuples. Okay, these are non-primitive data types and I have mentioned them in my data types video. Okay, if you haven't watched it yet, then you can also find the link of that video in the description or I button. Then you can find that video, so watch that first if you haven't if you don't remember the concept of data types. Okay, so now with that said, let's continue. Okay, so what are lists basically? Let us assume that you have to store some numbers. Okay, so you have to store some numbers ranging from 1 to 10. Then you can create, or 1 to 5. Let us create a list. Okay, I have list 1, or I can give any name I want. So numbers. So let us store these numbers in here. So it is similar to array, but the lists are wrapped up in these two square brackets and you pass each element in this list. Okay, so we have these elements in the lists or you can say items in this list. Now this is a list and we can create the list like this, or we can create empty list like this, or we can also create a list like this. You can create something or okay, so now what if I want the list of numbers starting from 1 to 100? I cannot pass the numbers like this 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 up to 100. That is not possible. So what I can do is I can create these numbers and I can simply use this range function. Okay, and I want the numbers up to 100 starting from 1 and I will convert this to list. Okay, this list is again a function, a built-in function in Python, which will convert this range function, or it will basically convert the output of this range to list. Okay, so we can use this. And now by saving this, if I will basically I need to print this, so let me just comment out this code and let me print this list on line number 3. So if I will print this list, you can see this list here starting from 1 up to 100, and you can also see these square brackets which denotes that this is a string. This is a list. Okay, so we have this list here now. Okay, so now we can create list in this different ways. Okay, these different approaches are there to create a list. Okay, so now let us do something so with these lists. Okay, so as we saw that in our strings we can access our items with using these square brackets, and if I will provide -1, then this is our last element of the list. So let me run it. Okay, so this is the last element. So by using -1 we get last element. By using -2 we will get the second last element, as you can see, 4, which is the second last element. Okay, so just like that you can print this list and you can access items in this list. So okay, so now let us print this list starting from 0 to going up to 4. So now if I will print this, then you can see 1 2 3 4. So if I will print starting from 0 and nothing and with interval of 2, let's say, let me save this and print it. So you can see 1 3 and 5, and similarly I can do with 3, and you can see 1 and 4. So this step, this limit and or the end point and the starting point, all these work, okay, in the lists as well. So now you can print list like this as well. So now let us move on to next point. So you can the lists are not just numbers, you can create lists like this as well. So let's say fruits is equal to apple, then you have a banana, then you have a pineapple, then you have a mango. Okay, so just like that you can create lists, okay, of strings. So list is basically collection of items. Okay, so you can create lists of strings, you can create lists of integers, floats and booleans as well. So you can also create list of booleans like this, let's say bool list, and you can create it simply like true, then false, then true, then false, similarly. Okay, so you can create a list of booleans as well, you can create a list of strings as well, you can create a list of integers and floats as well. And again you can also create list with mixing of these different data type. So you can create a list which will have integer, float, booleans and strings as well. So you can also create a list, let's say mix up. Okay, so let me just make this, okay, mix up, and let's say, or let's simply give it a name, okay, list 1. Okay, so this list 1 will now have a name, let's say it has my name, then it will also have let's say a name of fruit, so apple, then it will have a boolean value, so let's say true, then it will have a number, okay, let's say 12, and it will have a boolean a float number. So and it may also have another list, okay, just like this. So you can create lists in these different ways. So try doing that at your home or try practicing this. Okay, so you can create lists in these different ways. Okay, so this list is also a valid list, and you can see if I will just print this list, so list 1, if I will print it, then you can see that we have this list over here. And if we will access the last element of this list now, okay, so we can access it either by using 1 2 3 4 5 6, okay, either by using 5 or, okay, so if I will use 5, you can see the last element, or either by using -1. Okay, and the first index basically starts from 0, that's why I used 5 here. Okay, so with using these values, and so that's it. And now we have seen that how we can access our lists, how we can create different lists. So let us stick with this fruits list, and this numbers I will just comment it out. Okay, so now you can print these lists like this. So let me just print these fruits here. Okay, so now then moving ahead, we can add or remove items from a list. And how we can do that? So if I have a list, let's say fruits, I have some methods, just like I have some functions to this, just like we have on strings. Okay, so first of all I can print the type of this fruits. Okay, so we can type the we can print the type of this fruits variable fruits list, then object you can say, then we can print the length of this fruits list, and you can see 4, okay, because we have 4 elements or items in this list. Okay, so you can print the length, you can print the what we had print that you can print the type, you can print the length, you can access the elements. Now you can also set the element like this. Lists are basically mutable, that they can change. Okay, so you can change this fruits. Let's say I want to change the last element or the second element. Okay, I want to change the second element with, let's say okay, or let's say grapes. Okay, so I can simply change that. Okay, if I will change this, and if, okay, so let me change this, and now let us print this fruits. Okay, so what we have done is we have changed this second what we call second element with grapes. So the second element, which is this one, will be changed with this grapes. Okay, now let us print this fruits, and you can see apple, banana, grapes and mango. Okay, because we have changed the second element with this. Okay, so now you can also add elements in this list. Okay, so what you can do is you can add elements like this. You have fruits, you can add with dot append. Okay, you have this method append. With using this, you can append items to your list. Okay, so now let me append what should we append? So let us append a pineapple again, pineapple. Okay, so now if I will append this pineapple, and you can see this pineapple is added to this list at the last position, not at the beginning, not in middle. It will be added at the end of your list, or at last of your list. Okay, so you can add you can add elements to your lists like this. Then you can remove elements. Okay, with you can remove elements from your list with using some methods. Okay, so let me just remove this code. Okay, so now we have this numbers list. Okay, sorry, fruits list. Okay, let me remove this as well. Okay, so now we have this fruits list, and we want to remove, let's say we want to remove this mango from this list. What we can do is we can pass this fruits, and we can use its remove method. Okay, and we can remove this let's say banana. Okay, I don't like banana, so I want to remove this. So let me save it and let me run it. Then okay, it has been removed, but I haven't printed it, so nothing will be printed on the terminal. So to see the changes, we must print this, and then we can absolutely see the changes. So you can see that banana is not in the list anymore because we have removed it using this remove method. So now what we can do also is we can remove this, we can remove any element with using this remove method. Then we have another method, okay, fruits dot pop. Okay, so if I will simply use this method, what will happen is the last element of the list will get removed. Okay, so let me just comment out this line number 2. So now what will happen is, due to the line 3, the last element, which is mango, will be deleted from the list. Let me run it. So as you can see, we now we don't have mango here, because with using this pop we have deleted the mango. So if I will provide the index here, so if I will provide 0, then the apple will be deleted. So let me run it. Now you can see banana, pineapple, mango, but we don't have apple, because this pop now takes an argument, or this pop now takes a value which is index of the item. So 0 is index of this apple, and that's why apple is now popped out of the list. Or we can simply provide any value here. So just like if we provide 2 here, then pineapple will be removed from the list. Okay, so with using this we can remove items from the list. Now what we have is we have another keyword, delete. Okay, so with using this del, which stands for delete, you can delete any element like this. So now what will happen with using this, you will be able to delete the first item from the list. So let me run it now. Now as you can see, we have banana, pineapple, mango. We don't have apple. So now if I will remove -1, the last element will be deleted. So let us check it out. So now we don't have mango here, we have apple, banana, pineapple. So just like that, you can remove any item you want from the list, okay, with different these are some different methods with which you can remove items from your list. Now we also have another method which is clear, okay. So with using this clear method, you can see here, remove all items from list. It will remove all items from the list. So now you will be seeing an empty list here because all the items are now removed due to this clear method. So now as you can see, we have removed the elements, we have added the elements, we have accessed the items from the list. Now it's time to loop over this list. So we can also use this for loop, okay, and as you know, this for loop accesses one item of the group. Like if we have a range function, then range function generates numbers starting from the first value it has given and the last value, okay. So if I will create a range function with range 1 to 5, then the for loop will access the elements starting from the 1 to 5, okay. Why? Because range function will generate those numbers. Similarly, in this list now we have these some strings in this list. So what will happen is we can iterate over this list. So we can do like this for fruit in fruits. So for fruit in fruits, let us print each fruit. So with this, what will happen is, sorry, I have printed the fruits here, not fruits. I wanted to print fruit, okay. So that's my bad. Now let us run our code again. So now as you can see, we have these apple, banana, pineapple and mango. So this fruit is each item in this fruits, okay. So you can name it anything. If you want I, you can also name it I as well. So with this you can see the same output. So you can use any variable name. I will be using this fruit because it is more relatable. Okay, so you can use just like this. You can use you can loop over this list basically with using for loop. Now I have told you in my previous videos that you can also you can do the same with using while loop and for loop. You can achieve the same output with using while loop and for loop. So now how we can achieve the same output with using for loop? Okay, so now as we know, okay, so now recall this, that we can access elements of these fruits with using these square brackets and passing a value here. So now what we want is, we want to print the values like this. We want to print to 0 first, then for next execution we want 1, then for next we want 2, then for next we want 3, then for next we want okay, up to 3 as well. We don't want 4 because 3 is the last, okay. So just like that, we want to access elements each time. So what we can do, this is the first approach, and now I will show you the second approach. So I can create I is equal to, let's say, 0, because the first index is always 0. Now I will go while, okay, so while I is less than equal to length of list, okay, so length of list, so our fruits. So the length of list is the total number of you can say items here. So that's why we are going up to that, and then we will simply print the fruits and I will pass this I here. So what will happen is, for each iteration we are accessing one element of this fruits, okay, and I will always increase with 1, because if I will I won't increase this I won't increment it, then it will lead to an infinite loop, which we don't want obviously. So now let us run the code and list index out of range. Okay, why we see that? Because this length is, we should give this less than, because this length generates the actual number of elements, and the actual number of elements is 4, but the last element's index is 3, and that's why we can see list index out of range. So now what happened, for the last iteration the length of fruits was 4, and that's why I was 4, and fruits we have access to we have tried to access the fourth element of these fruits, and there is no such element, there is no such index 4 of for this list. So that's why we have this error. So you can simply use less than here, and you can run the program again, and you can see the same output here: apple, banana, pineapple, and mango. So just like that, you can iterate over your list with using while loop as well as with using for loop. Okay, so now let us, so just like that, we have iterated over this list, and we have accessed the elements of list, then we have added some items to the list, we have we learned how to remove some items from the list, we learned how to use clear method, we learned how to use pop, index, and different methods. So we can use such methods, and you should practice this at home, and with practice you can master this. And list is a very important topic in Python programming. It will be used in a lot of programs. You can see that in lot of programs and applications. So learn it well, master it, and don't just try to practice it. Try practicing all the methods, and you can also solve some problems on this topic on internet. So with that said, we have successfully completed our today's session, which was on lists. So I will see you in the next video. Thank you.